Hello and welcome to the Imagine Crafts YouTube channel. Katie here, and today I'm excited to share with you this super simple holiday card with a different way to do some ink blending. So some of the products I've got are the Summer Sky, Teal Zeal, Bahama Blue, and Nautical Blue Memento Inks. I've got some hot press watercolor paper, which the difference between hot and cold is the texture. Hot press is just a lot smoother. I've got the Gina K Delicate Snowflakes background stamp set, and I've got the Waffle Flower Oversized Joy stamp and die set. I'm going to be using some of the Sheer Shimmer Spray and Sparkle and some Silvery Shimmer Delicata ink, and then I've got some red foil cardstock that I'm going to use to cut out my Joy with. So to start, this is real-time ink blending. I'm starting off with the Summer Sky, and I wanted to keep just a little segment of this in. Normally I speed up all of the ink blending that I do, but I wanted to show you that it really is not a quick process. And the technique I'm using is an up and down motion. So I'm starting at the top of the panel and just dragging the brush right down to the bottom of the panel. Now I am being careful in the center of the panel as I get towards the bottom to lift up my brush or, lighten up my pressure, because I want to have kind of this halo look, a softer, lighter look in the center. And you'll see as we build the color up here. But now I've sped the video up, but I wanted you to see that in real time, that it's not a quick process. And I did cut portions of each section of the ink blending out for each color that I use, because I'm finishing up here with my Summer Sky, and I'm just building that color up just enough. Okay, and now I'm going to come in with the Bahama Blue, and this is where you can see where it kind of looks streaky. And this is where your hot press watercolor paper is going to come into play, because it really blends nicely. Now, this technique is great for anything. Obviously, you can see I'm just building up some colors here, but especially for people who might struggle with doing a circular motion and things like that, that you can actually apply your ink in an up and down motion and still get beautiful blended results. So, as I said, I cut out portions of each color because each color took about 3.5 minutes, roughly. Now I'm coming in with the Teal Zeal. So we started with Summer Sky, then Bahama Blue. Now we're at Teal Zeal, and I could only speed this up so much, to where if I speed it up too fast, you're going to get no value from this. You're not really going to see what's happening and how the ink is being applied. So I did cut portions of it out. I started you with each color, and then, as I got through to the end of the color, as in this case, I'm still working on Teal Zeal. So once I get that saturation to where I want it, I'll move on to my next color. Now, I'll say that I'm going to come in here in just a second with my Nautical Blue. That's my darkest blue. That once I get the Nautical Blue added on, and I add this quite a bit to deepen up that color, I do come back in here in a few minutes and add more Teal Zeal, and then come back in again with my Nautical Blue. So the one thing I want to stress about ink blending is that it's your preference. You may not want the panel this dark. It depends on what your vision is for what it is that you're trying to create. So ink blending can take as little or as long as you want it to, based on your saturation outcome. How dark you want it to be versus how light you want it to be. The other thing I want to mention is watercolor paper, whether you use cold pressed or hot pressed or even rough. The 100% cotton watercolor paper you're going to get fantastic blended results. I believe it's just because it's the nature of the paper. It's 100% cotton, that it really just works well to blend your colors. The only difference is in the texture. If you want to have something that has a little bit more texture, go with the cold press or even rough. Rough is really textured. So the difference in that watercolor paper, when I say hot pressed or cold pressed, is only in the texture. If you want it super smooth, go with the hot pressed. But here I'm inking up with my Silvery Shimmer Delicata ink, that delicate snowflake background. Now I stamped this a total of 4 times. I show you twice here on camera, and I also want to remind people, or if you're new to the channel and you've not seen these videos, for my Delicata inks, I like my pad to be a little on the drier side and build up the color by doing additional stamping. I'd rather take the time to do extra stamping than risk a big blob of silver or gold or copper. But here is my oversized Joy stamp and die set from Waffle Flower. I cut that Joy twice out of some 120-pound accent opaque cardstock. And then I cut 1 layer of my red foil to layer on top of that. Now I'm doing my sentiment strip, and I've inked that up in nautical blue, and then I just trimmed down my sentiment strip. I've got 2 layers of that 120-pound cardstock for my sentiment strip. And now I'm going to start adding my pieces together. So I'm using Barely Art glue. I wish I ran out of my On Point glue, but I really like that for putting the die cuts together because it's clear. And if I get some on my hands, it's, you know what I mean, it's just a lot cleaner. And in this case, I was trying to be a little bit more left-sided with adding the glue, and it didn't work in all the spots of the lettering. So the clear would have, the On Point would have been much better for that, but I didn't have it. So now I'm adding on some more liquid glue and using my jewel picker to pick up my little dots to my J. And I've got that lined up with my Joy, so I make sure I get that right offset for the red foil and the white cardstock. A little bit more liquid glue, and I'm going to add that to my panel. Now I made a little mistake. Once I was done with my stamping, I should have added my sheer shimmer spray and sparkle, but I forgot. I'm adhering this down, and I look up right above off camera there, and I realize I didn't spray my sparkle, and I wanted some extra sparkle. So I'm going to do it right now after I apply that. What's great with this is that it's foil, so I can easily take my paper towel there and wipe it away. If it were regular cardstock, then you'd have shimmer cardstock. But with the foil, I was able to wipe that away, no problem. Next time I'll be sure and spritz it before I put my sentiment down. But I wanted that extra sparkle because it really enhanced, you can't see it real well on camera, but it really enhanced that silvery shimmer Delicata ink on there. So now I'm going to add my sentiment strip across my Joy, and then I'm going to create my card base, which is a 100-pound cover accent opaque cardstock. These accent opaque cardstocks are really super affordable and good solid weight. I like a heavier weight base for my cardstock, and those are fantastic and very affordable. So now I'm coming in with my tear it tape, and I'm going to adhere my panel down with that, and I'm going to put 5 strips. This is the 1/4 inch size, and that way I get nice even coverage and no warping once I add this down to my panel. I'll get that lined up and adhere it down. And the longest was the ink blending. Once you get through your ink blending, and you could change up the colors for the backgrounds and things, and have a whole variety of different colored backgrounds for the holidays. And that finishes the card. I mean, it couldn't have been simpler to put together. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.